Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're climbing what I like to call the Windows ladder. We're going to sort through all the different versions of the world's most popular OS so you can figure out, which one is actually the right one for you.
So have you ever felt kind of lost looking at a list of like 8 different Windows editions? Yeah, you're not alone. It's a super common problem. But don't worry, we're going to make it all make sense.
All right, let's just jump right in. The easiest way to get your head around the whole Windows family is just to ask, who is this for? It all starts with the Home Edition for, well, you and me, individuals and families, and it scales all the way up to Enterprise, which is for those giant, massive organizations.
So, we're going to start our climb on the first couple of rungs of this ladder. And these are the 2 versions that, let's be honest, most of us are ever going to run into. Good old Windows Home and Windows Pro.
So Windows Home, think of this as the baseline, the foundation for everything else. It's the standard version that you're going to find on most of the PCs, laptops, and tablets you buy off the shelf. It's really just built to handle all the basics, your day-to-day stuff.
And right out of the box, it's already packed with all the core stuff you need for security and just getting work done. I mean, you get the essentials like the Edge browser, of course, but you also get some really nice tools like Windows Hello for signing in, plus some super important protections like a built-in firewall and even device encryption.
Okay, and this is maybe the most important thing to get. Windows Pro isn't some totally different thing. It's really just an expanded version of Home. It takes everything you get in Home and then bolts on this powerful set of tools that are really meant for businesses and pros who need that extra layer of control and security.
So you might be thinking, okay, but what do those extra features do? Well, let's think about a real-world problem. Imagine you're an independent contractor, you're always on the move, and your laptop has all this sensitive client data on it. You're probably a little worried, right? What happens if that laptop gets lost, or even worse, stolen?
Well, for our contractor, upgrading to Pro is an absolute no-brainer. And you know why? It really comes down to one killer feature, BitLocker. This thing gives you full disk encryption. That means even if somebody physically steals your laptop, they can't get to your files, period. It's a real business-grade solution for a very real business risk.
All right, let's keep climbing up that ladder. We're moving up to the next level now, getting into the world of really extreme performance and massive corporate needs. We're talking about Pro for workstations and a big one, Enterprise.
So if you think of Windows Pro as being for, well, professionals, then Pro for workstations is for like the top 1% of power users. We're talking about data scientists, 3D animators, engineers, basically anyone who's working with just gigantic data sets or running these incredibly intense computing jobs. And this edition is really all about the hardware. To handle those kinds of insane workloads, it just smashes through the normal limits. It gives you expanded hardware support. We're talking about monster systems with up to 4 separate physical CPUs.
And get this, the memory support is just, wow, it's staggering. Windows Pro for workstations can handle up to 6 terabytes of RAM. That is so far beyond what any normal version of Windows could even think about using.
Okay, so now we're at the very top of our main ladder, Windows Enterprise. And it follows that same pattern we saw before, right? Just like Pro builds on Home, Enterprise builds on top of Pro. It adds yet another layer of really advanced security and management tools, all designed for those big corporate IT teams that have to manage hundreds or even thousands of computers. And you can really see what Enterprise is all about just by looking at these features. The whole focus is on control and stopping threats at a huge scale. I mean, things like Credential Guard and Application Guard, they're all about locking down devices and isolating threats before they can spread. That's exactly what a big company needs to stay secure.
Okay, so for a minute, we're going to step off the main ladder here and take a little detour. We need to look at a few super specialized versions of Windows that are built for some very specific and very important jobs.
First up, there's something called LTSC. That stands for Long-Term Servicing Channel. And you can pretty much think of this as the set-it-and-forget-it Windows. It's for those mission-critical systems that absolutely, positively cannot change or fail. We're talking about the PC that runs an MRI machine or controls a factory assembly line. It gets security updates, sure, but no new features that might, mess things up. Then you've got Windows IoT. Now, this version is designed to just run quietly in the background on devices that only do one thing. And what's wild is, you've probably used it 100 times and never even knew it. Think about the ATM you used this morning, or the self-checkout at the grocery store, or even those big digital signs at the airport. Yep, that's often Windows IoT.
Now, they might sound kind of similar, but there is a really key difference here. It's all about who installs it. A company's IT department is going to install LTSC on a PC they already own. But with IoT, the manufacturer puts it on the device before it even leaves the factory. It's embedded right from the start.
And finally, wrapping up our little detour, we have the education editions. This one is actually super simple. They basically just take all the features from Windows Pro and Windows Enterprise and tweak the settings and the licensing to make sense for schools, colleges, that kind of thing.
Okay, so you've climbed the ladder, you've figured out the perfect version for you. Awesome. But hold on a second. There's one last really important hurdle you have to clear, especially if you're thinking about upgrading a machine you already have.
That's right. We got to talk about hardware, because the move from Windows 10 to Windows 11, that wasn't just another software update. It brought in some of the toughest new hardware rules we've seen in like a decade.
Just look at the jump here. Windows 11 doubles the RAM requirement, it more than triples the storage you need, but honestly, for a lot of older PCs, the real killers, the deal breakers, are those last two things. You need a modern UEFI system with Secure Boot, and you absolutely have to have that little security chip called TPM version 2.0.
And I'm telling you, that TPM 2.0 thing, that is the #1 reason why millions of perfectly good computers that ran Windows 10 just fine can't officially upgrade to Windows 11. It's a security feature that's built right into the hardware, and Microsoft decided to make it mandatory. So checking if you have it is absolutely step one before you plan any upgrade.
So let's wrap this up. Finding the right Windows, it's really a two-part mission. First, you've got to climb the ladder and find the version with the features that you actually need. But then, and this is just as important, you have to make sure your hardware is ready for it. So yeah, your perfect version of Windows is definitely out there. The real question is your PC ready for it?